Good afternoon, my name's Tina. I'm an apprenticeship advisor with the National Apprenticeship Service, and today I'm going to be talking about all things apprenticeships. So the different levels, the different types, the range of employers that offer apprenticeships, and how you can start searching and finding opportunities. So what are apprenticeships? Well, apprenticeships are real jobs. You're given a contract of employment and you're treated like any other employee. You will work for at least 30 hours a week. However, most apprenticeship opportunities are 37 to 40 hours a week. And as part of your apprenticeship, you will study for a job related qualification. So 80% of your apprenticeship is on the job training, and that's the responsibility of the employer to train and help you develop the skills that you need to carry out your role. And 20% is the job related qualification. So it's not work experience, it's a real job. And because it's a real job, you're given a wage, and it can be a really good wage as well. And I'll talk about salaries a bit later on. The apprenticeship itself can last between 1 and 4 years. However, some apprenticeships last for as much as 6 years. And again, I'll talk about those a bit later on. So there are some misconceptions about apprenticeships. Some people think that they are not aimed at people who are interested in higher education, and that isn't the case. You can now study for a degree through the apprenticeship route, and you also don't pay any student fees. So no matter what level apprenticeship you do, the apprenticeship is completely free to you. Another misconception is that the salaries are always really low, and that isn't necessarily the case. However, it is true to say that the minimum wage for apprenticeships is £4.15 an hour, and that's rising to £4.30 in April. But many jobs, particularly in London, pay more than that, and I'll give you some real examples later. Another misconception is that at the end of your apprenticeship, the employer will let you go, and that isn't the case. 90% of apprentices remain in employment at the end of their apprenticeship. You think about it, the employer has invested a lot of time and money in you, so it makes sense in many cases for them to keep you on. Remember, apprenticeships are not the easy route because you have to study and work at the same time. So when we talk about apprenticeships, lots of people think of the construction industry, so trades like plumbing, carpentry, electrical installation, and there are some really great opportunities in those industries. However, there are so many more career paths and industries that are now available through the apprenticeship route. So you can go into accountancy, lots of opportunities in the finance industries. IT is really well served through the apprenticeship route, and in particular careers like cybersecurity are a growing field that you can now pursue. Creative and digital roles, nursing, journalism, legal services. So if you're interested in going into law, you can study, you can do a paralegal apprenticeship, and then in some cases go as far as becoming a solicitor through the apprenticeship route. And there are so many more different opportunities. And if you wanted to find out more, you could go on to the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education, and there's a list on there of all the apprenticeships that have been approved. This is an example of some of the employers that offer apprenticeships. So most of these employers, I'm sure you will recognise at least some of them or all of them. 50% of apprenticeships are offered by these large, well-known companies, and the other half are offered by smaller and medium-sized companies that you might not be so familiar with. Now, it is tempting to think that the best opportunities are offered by the larger companies, but that isn't necessarily always the case. Some smaller companies can offer fantastic career progression. So it's really important that you do your research. Another really important thing to consider is when you're searching for apprenticeships is don't only look in the obvious places. So by that I mean, if for example you were looking for a finance role, then it's right that you look at the large accountancy firms in the City of London and the large high street banks. But you should also look inside other large organisations because they may have opportunities in that department through their company. So for example, Marks and Spencer's, we don't associate them with finance, we associate them with retail and food. However, they're such a large company, they will have all of these departments within their organisation, and they may have opportunities within their finance department through the apprenticeship route. So there are 4 different levels of apprenticeship. Intermediate, which is level 2, so that's equivalent to GCSEs. Advanced, which is level 3, equivalent to A levels. Higher apprenticeships, levels 4 to 7, equivalent to HNCs, HNDs, and foundation degrees. And level 6, which is degree level, and level 7, which is a master's level. Now, employers will typically ask for qualifications as part of the recruitment for their apprenticeship. So for a level 2 apprenticeship, you might find an employer asking for Maths and English GCSE or Maths and English functional skill. For a level 3, they could ask for GCSEs, and sometimes they'll ask for level 3 qualifications as well. For higher apprenticeships, they will ask for level 3 qualifications, so A levels or BTEC qualifications. And for degree apprenticeships, equally, it would be level 3, so BTECs or A level qualification. And for level 7, which is a master's level, they would expect you to have a degree qualification. Now, it isn't only the qualifications that an employer is looking for. As well as that, they are looking for all the skills and attributes that you can bring to that apprenticeship. So I mentioned at the beginning that 20% of your apprenticeship will be off-the-job learning, the job-related qualification. And this can be delivered in different ways. So it might be an employer coming into your place of work and training you there, or it might be more traditional classroom learning, what you're used to, going into a college or a university or a training provider's premises, or it might be online learning, or it could be a combination of online learning and classroom learning. And it might be delivered once a week, so you may do 4 days at work and 1 day at college or university, or it might be in blocks of learning. So it might be that you spend 4 weeks at work and then do a week block of learning, or it may be different combinations of that. And if you wanted to find out more when you're applying for opportunities, you can contact the training provider to ask them how the training side of the apprenticeship is going to be delivered. So I talked about degree apprenticeships, but what's the difference between a degree apprenticeship and a traditional degree? Well, one of the main differences is it can sometimes take longer. So sometimes as much as 4 to 6 years, and that's because you're working full-time, studying part-time. Another difference and a real benefit to doing a degree apprenticeship is you don't pay any student fees. The government and your employer pay all your student fees, so there's no student debt at the end of your apprenticeship. Another key benefit to doing a degree apprenticeship is that you're paid a salary throughout the apprenticeship. So as well as having no student debt at the end, you're paid a salary throughout your apprenticeship. And another really key benefit to doing a degree apprenticeship is that you gain 4 to 6 years of industry related work experience. So you're in a really strong position at the end of your apprenticeship, if you did decide to move on, that you have your degree and you have 4 to 6 years worth of relevant industry work experience. Now, 100 universities are now offering degree apprenticeships in partnership with employers. You can't choose the university that you want to go to. The employer will have already partnered with the university, and that's where you would study your degree. And it's also really important to say that the qualification that you achieve at the end is exactly the same qualification as if you've done it through the traditional route. So are there any vacancies out there? I put Haggerston School postcode into the government Find an Apprenticeship platform to see how many opportunities were available. So within 5 miles of the school, there were 247 vacancies. Within 10 miles, 541. Within 15 miles, 809 vacancies, and within 20 miles, there were over 1,000. So this really encouraging that even in the middle of COVID and everything that's going on, employers are still recruiting. Another thing to consider is that the further you're prepared to travel, the more opportunities will be available to you. This slide is an example of some of those apprenticeship jobs that are currently shown on the Government Find an Apprenticeship platform. And I just wanted to give you an idea of the different types of apprenticeships that are available with different levels, also what grades employers are asking for, and also again, the salary. Just wanted to give you some examples of real salaries that are being paid by employers. So the first job showing is a technology solutions degree. It's a level 6. And the employer is asking for 3 A levels, ABB, maths, IT or computing. So they've been quite specific about what they want. And the annual salary is 22,000, which I'm sure you'll agree is a really generous salary. The third one down is a paralegal apprenticeship with Kennedy's. It's a higher level 3/4, so there's an opportunity to progress onto level 4 and also an opportunity to progress onto a level 6 as well, all going well. But this employer isn't asking for specifics, they're just asking for 120 UCAS points. And the salary for this opportunity is 21,476. So again, a really generous salary. The one above it is a level 3, and the employer is asking for 5 GCSEs, grades 9 to 4, included English and maths at grade 6. So again, this employer has been slightly more specific. So it's really important when you're looking at opportunities to see what the employer is asking for. It's also really important to note the closing date. Now, closing dates are not fixed. If an employer is inundated with applications, they will close the job early. So it's really important when you start searching for opportunities, if you find something that you really are interested in, that you apply as soon as you can so you don't miss out. So how do you find apprenticeships? Well, there isn't just one place to look for opportunities, and it can feel a bit daunting because there are so many different places that you can search for opportunities. But we would advise the best place to start your search is on the Government Find an Apprenticeship platform. And this is because it's a live database of apprenticeship jobs. Hundreds of employers use it to advertise their vacancies. And you can set up and create alerts for your search so you don't miss out on any opportunities as they come in. But the government platform isn't the only place to look, because not every apprenticeship vacancy is advertised on the Find an Apprenticeship platform. So it's important that you look in other places as well. So if you have an employer in mind that you'd be interested in working for, then go onto the company website, sign up for recruitment alerts or newsletters. Equally, social media. Lots of employers use social media as a tool to recruit. So if you have an employer in mind, following them on social media is a really good way of keeping in the loop. So if they advertise a vacancy, you'll be amongst the first to know. The vacancy snapshot on the Amazing Apprenticeship website is a really useful tool because it talks about the larger employers and it gives an insight into their apprenticeship opportunities, tells you a bit about the company, what type of apprenticeship jobs that they have, and in some cases they will tell you when they're going to be advertising their vacancies. So that's a really useful tool to use, and you can find that on the Amazing Apprenticeships site. Another place to look for your friends and family. So if you know somebody who's working in an industry or doing a job that you'd be interested in pursuing, let them know. Lots of apprentices tell us they found their apprenticeships through word of mouth. And there are other places that you can look, like online. There are websites called Not Going to Uni, Rate My Apprenticeship. UCAS have a section on their website, and there are job sites like Indeed, Total Jobs, so you can look in those places as well. So that's about it from me. These are our contact details. Should you have any questions, then please do contact us. You can also contact the National Careers Service and they will be able to help you with your apprenticeship queries too. As well as the vacancy snapshot on the Amazing Apprenticeship website, they also have lots of other information and resources that you can access to find out more about apprenticeships. So because this is a recording, obviously I can't take any questions live, but if you do have any questions, please pass them on to your teacher, who can pass them on to me, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So on that note, thank you very much for listening. I hope you found that useful, and I wish you the best of luck for the future.